My brother said I was adopted as a backup, so why did Grandpa pick me over him? Growing up, Colton never let me forget I was picked, not born. Every argument ended the same way. Mom and Dad already had a real kid. You were just the backup they went shopping for. I'd laugh it off in front of people, but it dug in every time. He was 3 years older and never let me forget he was here first, that he was the original and I was the replacement they bought. Our parents loved me. I never doubted that. But Colton's voice lived in the back of my head. Every birthday, every family photo, I'd catch myself wondering if I was chosen or if I was just Charity with a bedroom. The one place that voice went quiet was Grandpa Amos's workshop. Grandpa built furniture the old way. Hand-cut joints, no nails, walnut and cherry he'd let sit for years before he'd even touch it. Half the town owned a table he'd made. Then 2 winters ago, his hands started to shake. The tremor got so bad he couldn't hold a chisel steady. And just like that, 60 years of work went silent. He'd sit in the shop for hours, not making anything, just holding wood. One evening I overheard him talking to Dad by the back door. "It all dies with me now," Grandpa said quietly. "Colton's got no patience for it, and nobody else can. Whole life's work, and no hands to keep it going." He wasn't angry, just tired. That's the night I decided. I started sneaking into the shop after everyone slept. I watched every old tape of Grandpa working until I'd memorized the way he held his tools. I ruined more wood than I can count. Split boards, blown joints, splinters buried so deep I dug them out with a needle. I told my parents I was studying late. I bought cheap tools with money I saved from a weekend job, kept them wrapped in a rag under a loose floorboard so no one would find them. Some nights, I'd get one clean cut after 3 hours and feel like I'd won something. For 2 years, I taught myself his craft in the dark, one failed joint at a time, and never told a single soul. Meanwhile, Colton was busy telling everyone he'd be taking over the family legacy. He didn't know a dovetail from a doorknob, but he loved the sound of it. "Some people inherit things," he'd say, looking right at me. "Others just borrow them." When I offered to help clean the shop, he laughed. "Careful, you'll get sawdust on your little hobbies." There was one piece nobody touched. A walnut rocking chair Grandpa had started for Grandma before she passed, never finished. It sat under a sheet in the corner like a headstone. The whole family treated it as sacred. The perfect stage came at Grandpa's 80th birthday. The backyard was packed, relatives, neighbors, 3 of Grandpa's old apprentices, even the local paper. Colton stood up with a glass and made his big announcement. "As the one carrying on this family's name," he said, "I finished Grandma's chair, my tribute to Grandpa." Gasps, applause. He pulled a chair from under a sheet on the patio, gleaming and perfect. Grandpa went silent. He walked over slowly, ran his hand along the armrest, the joints, the underside. His face changed. "This isn't cut by hand," he said. "There's no burn mark from my saw. These are machine joints." He looked up. "Where did you buy this?" Colton's mouth opened and closed. Someone had ordered it from a factory catalog. The backyard went dead quiet, the kind that follows a slap. That's when I took a breath and stepped forward. "That's not Grandma's chair," I said. "The real one's in the shop." I led everyone inside and pulled the sheet off the corner, and there it was, finished. Every joint hand cut, the walnut oiled the way he liked, the exact rocker curve he'd sketched 20 years ago. Grandpa's hands shook harder than usual as he touched it. He found the joint under the seat and froze. "This is my dovetail," he whispered. "The half-blind one nobody could ever copy. I never even taught this." He turned to me, tears in the deep lines of his face. "How long?" "2 years," I said. "I wanted it finished before you couldn't see it anymore." The apprentices crowded in, running their hands over the work, muttering that it was his exactly. Grandpa gripped the back of that chair to steady himself and looked around at every relative in the room. "You want to talk about family?" he said, voice cracking but loud enough for the yard to hear. "This shop goes to the one who kept my hands alive, not by blood, by choice." He looked at Colton, then at me. "Turns out we chose right the first time, and this one chose us right back."